There is this notion lately that you need a full frame camera for any video recording, and this, I would say, agenda is pushed on you by YouTube influencers, or however you call them. There is a reasoning that the full frame got better low light performance, and also there is more shallow depth of field if you got fast glass. So I'm not sure this is true. This video is recorded on two APS-C cameras, Blackmagic 6K here and Sony A6600 here. So I think there is enough shallow depth of field. There is a nice bokeh. For sure the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K is not a vlogging camera. It might be called studio camera, but probably you need an operator for this camera. It would be a really nice one for the interviews when you got someone operating the camera, especially because there is no screen facing me at the moment. I got it connected via HDMI to external monitors, but there is a tilt hack. You can switch this fixed monitor into the rotating one, but this is additional cost. I bought my Pocket 6K for the different purpose than recording anything for YouTube. So lately I've recorded several, probably 30 plus sport events on it, on a really wide lens. So I shoot the whole event from the static camera, and then I can do whatever I want in post. Of course, for the close-up of the really far away action, it's not the best option, but still it offers really good quality of in terms of resolution, and also, or especially in terms of color science and dynamic range. Probably Sony A7S III is a better choice in terms of options you got, because it's a full frame and got a really good autofocus. But for these sport events, it doesn't matter, because I would be recording with the manual focus anyway, because I set focus for the chosen distance and everything is in focus, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe there would be more uses for the A7S III, but it is not yet available in Poland. The price is more than twice the price of Blackmagic 6K, and also the glass is much more expensive for the Sony E mount than for the Canon EF mount. And for the Canon EF mount you got like plenty of choices, several producers of the lenses, and you can go from the really cheap ones to really expensive cine lenses. And also I can use the EF glass with the Sigma MC11 on my Sony A6600, and maybe later on any Sony I got. But the overall image quality I think is much better on the 6K than on Sony 6600. Although in terms of the details, there is almost, or there is no difference, because the A6600 oversamples from 6K to create the 4K video. So I checked it before. There is a separate video link here, or maybe here, and you cannot see any difference in terms of the details, but in terms of the overall image quality, so the dynamic range, the color science, and especially the preservation of the highlights, I think the 6K is better than Sony. But it might be not true, because for Sony I'm using the predefined picture profiles, but there is a way to tune the predefined pictures profiles or change them to the custom ones. So maybe there is a way to tune Sony to produce the same quality of the image as Blackmagic 6K produces, but straight from the box 6K is much better. But there are some quirks. There is no forward facing screen, which is really annoying. Of course, you can attach any small monitor via HDMI and then you are good to go. I got Atomos connected via 8M Mini, so I can switch between both cameras easily and see what's going on each of them. But the biggest disadvantage of this Blackmagic 6K is that it doesn't have autofocus. There is an autofocus you can pull once, and because I got it connected via 8M Mini, I can push it remotely and it does that. So it's a pause to find my face, and the autofocus only works on the center of the video, so it is not very useful if you, for example, want to sit in rule of thirds, then it won't work that well. But there are plenty of other possibilities. There are like 6 ways to autofocus on the 6K. So one way is to connect it via 8M Mini and use the 8M control software to pull this focus if you move out of focus. Of course, you can sit still, and during this video I'm sitting quite still. So this is Sigma 18-35 wide open on 1.8, so it is in terms of full frame 2.8, and it is set on 30mm to mimic the Sony with Sigma 1.4 30mm. So according to the depth of field simulator, I got 4 centimeters of in-focus area, so I can move back and forth within 4 centimeter zone, and I still will be in focus. It doesn't seem to be problematic because I don't move that much during such a recording, so it doesn't seem to be a problem. But if I do something like that, then I'm out of focus. And for Sony, it is not a problem. I can move whenever I want, and the focus is just razor sharp. But especially the highlights on the Sony picture are concerning because they are blown out, and on the Pocket 6K everything looks really nice. But coming back to the autofocusing methods, the first and the cheapest one, I would say, is just to switch the lens to manual focus and set focus manually before recording. It's kind of tricky, but if you got a monitor with focus picking, or you use the focus picking on the 6K itself, which is not that good, so external monitor is a better option. You can set focus, forget about it, and stay within the focus area like I'm doing right now. But if I move out, I can refocus it via 8M. So this is the cheapest method, but prone to error. The second one is a focus puller with a focus motor attached to the lens. So there are a few options here, and I think the most common and the cheapest one is Tilta Nucleus Nano. So you connect the focus motor to the lens and you got a remote. You can set your focus whenever you want. It connects via radio, so you are kind of elastic in terms of when you sit and which lens you use. But it got price tag around $200, and you have to power both the remote and the focus motor. So for focus motor, if you're in the studio, you can use USB power brick and you would be fine. So this is not a problem, but then you have to remember to charge another battery in the remote. But the pros are that you can use any lens, both cine lenses, manual focus lenses, photo lenses, which could be switched to manual focus, and you can use them that way. So it's kind of elastic. but there are mixed opinions regarding the Tilta Nucleus Nano. Some people say that it got some lag to it, and also there are some reviews saying that it generates weird noises, so it messes up the audio. The third option is totally manual follow focus with a whip. So there are plenty of options. There is a newer Fodga, there is also Tilta manual one. There are more professional and more expensive ones, so they start from $70 up to the infinity. And for example, for Fodga, you need additional accessories like a base plate and rods, so the price is going up quite fast. So follow focus alone, it is like 70 to $300. Whip is just $10, so it's not a problem, and could be like 2 meters long, so you get plenty of reach to steer the wheel. Most of these manual focus pulls got plenty of options, so you can dampen the focus, you can change the speed by changing the gears, you can also set the range of focus with the focus limiters. So there are plenty of options with this manual device. If you plan to shoot anything else than studio vlogs, you would probably buy follow focus anyway, so might be the case that this is not an additional expense. So I think this option might be the best if you plan to record anything else on Pocket 6K. Lately DJI have shown their RS2 gimbal with the follow focus, and also there is a new tracker device for this gimbal, so you can combine it with your cell phone. You can track anything recorded with the camera, and also you can introduce pans and other shots with the gimbal itself, and it can support Pocket 6K with ease, even with the heavy lenses. So it's a nice option, but it's like above $1,000. If you plan to buy Ronin 2 anyway, I guess that's a good option also. It's hard to say how good it is, so at the moment there was some hype on YouTube, but you know how it is with a hype on YouTube. You can buy something which is useless. And the next way to get autofocus on Pocket 6K is a autofocus device on Indiegogo. It is around €300, and it allows to basically get autofocus on this camera, but only on this central point. There are plenty of other options. You can use the central point as a continuous autofocus point. You can set 4 points and quickly switch between them and stuff like that. But it was also just created lately, so there is only like one demo. When it works really well, but it's hard to say what is the reality. There is also a seventh way to pull autofocus with the Pocket 6K and 4K, but doesn't work for me. There are plenty applications in Google Play Store or iPhone App Store which are supposed to work with this camera via Bluetooth, and some of them allow you to focus remotely and change all the settings in the camera, but I tried even those paid ones and they don't work with my firmware version. So maybe it's an option for some, but with my Android phones it doesn't work. I only got one application which allows to turn recording on and off and nothing else, and read the parameters of the camera, but you cannot set anything, and it disconnects very often, so it is not that good. So we got plenty of options, and I guess during this video I was not out of focus unless I pressed this refocus button intentionally on the item. So ATEM connected to the Pocket 6K is another option to pull focus. You can use camera tap to pull focus, but there is a caveat to that, because if you connect a monitor directly to the camera, then two-way communication between ATEM and Pocket 6K doesn't work. So if there is a monitor like Ninja or Inferno between the devices, you won't be able to pull focus that way. So you have to connect the Pocket 6K directly to ATEM. Maybe it works with the Blackmagic monitors. I know I don't have Blackmagic monitors. Maybe they support two-way communication, hard to say. But it's possible to steer the focus remotely from the ATEM. But you also need your computer to be turned on, and you have to use this application. This is recorded on the Pocket 6K with Sigma 18 to 35. I got my very simple LUT turned on, but the LUT only changes the way the image is shown on the monitors, but it's still recorded in Blackmagic RAW. And then I can apply the same LUT in post and get the same look. This is also an advantage of Pocket 6K, because for the Sony you have to apply the LUT in the monitor like a Ninja. There is no way to apply the LUT in the camera to see how the image would look like. And also at the moment when I see that I am recording in high-low gamma, and I see that I got some blown highlights on my face, and also the whole colors are kind of weird, like that they are going into the greens, and on Pocket 6K they're going into the reds, but they are much more natural. Maybe you can record better natural colors with S-Log on Sony, hard to say. But when you're recording it looks totally flat, so maybe I need more experience with Sony, and I would be also happy. But I checked it briefly, and also that there were blown highlights, so I guess you need prepare your setup to record in log with Sony. So I think that even without any focusing devices you can record your studio videos with the Pocket 6K. It's not a problem, but you have to be aware that you don't have autofocus, so you shouldn't be moving that much in the frame. And with any of the focus pullers, I guess you're good to go. But for sure it is tougher to get better focus than with a camera with a really good autofocus like any Sony, and especially Sony a7S III. So it depends what you want and what's your budget. I think it's possible to use it like that, and I really like the image that this camera produces, but I'm not sure it will be visible on YouTube, because YouTube crashes the videos with the 8-bit codecs, and the colors are not that great as in the footage I can see now. So might be the case that there is no difference between the Pocket 6K and APS Sony or any Sony. I've seen lately the comparison between 6K and Sony a7S III, and it seemed that 6K got more pleasing image, but it also might be personal choice. Some people might prefer the look of other cameras than 6K, so it depends. And it also depends how easy you want your setup to be. But I think there is enough shallow depth of field, and funny thing is that the Sony is recording on 31.4. The depth of field should be shallower, but it doesn't seem to be a case. Like, it's really similar to 1.8 Sigma. So if you know any other way to autofocus with the Pocket 6K, let me know in the comments down below, because maybe there is a easier way than I listed. And also, if possible, comment which look is better, if this is the Pocket 6K or Sony a6600. let me know in the comments down below. And that's it. Cheers, mate.